Hey everyone, I'm Marshall the Scent Addict. Thank you so much for finding me here on YouTube. This is exciting. Before we get started, please feel free to like the video, subscribe, make sure to ring the bell so you will be updated every time I release a fragrance review or fragrance related content. Today we're going to take a look at the House of Moudon, one of my favorite up-and-coming fragrance houses. They released their 11 original fragrances back in 2022 and since just released 9 new fragrances in May of 2024. So the plan is my first few YouTube videos being deep dives into these new Moudon fragrances. You can purchase Moudon fragrances from Fragrancelord.com. If you use the code Scent Addict, that'll save yourself 10%. All Moudon fragrances are straight to parfum concentration. They use a lot of fragrance oil. They are top quality niche fragrances and some include those niche characteristics. Some are very mass appealing, others a bit more challenging. Moudon prides themselves on using natural essences and eccentric aroma molecules. Top quality stuff. They're all very well crafted fragrances, and while all 20 weren't built for my specific tastes, I don't wear all 20 Moudon fragrances regularly, but I do appreciate all of them for what they do. Within those 20 fragrances, they have a lot of variety, a lot of diversity. They have something for everyone. Some are very easy, mass appealing fragrances, others are a bit more challenging. Today we'll be reviewing Moudon Wisdom. First, check out the bottle. Quick atomizer check. Here's the box. What's in the box? It comes looking like this. Very nice presentation. I must be wise because Wisdom here is my favorite of the 9 new fragrances from Moudon. It doesn't mean Wisdom will be your favorite fragrance from Moudon, but it spoke to me. For my individual taste, it works. When I received all 9 Moudon fragrances, I studied each box before opening. They list the notes here on the cover of the box, and these notes really spoke to me. I had a feeling this fragrance would be right up my alley, and I was not disappointed. Let's start out by looking at the notes. Top notes, bergamot and pink pepper. Heart notes, black currant, rose, and patchouli. Base notes, vanilla, sandalwood, and ambergris. If you followed me over from TikTok, if you've watched any of my videos, you likely know that I'm a bit of a Creed Aventus fanboy. And if you're like me and really enjoy Aventus, then you'll probably recognize some of the notes in this fragrance. The majority of these notes are shared with Creed Aventus. Moudon already has a fragrance that is kind of inspired by Creed Aventus. It's actually my favorite Moudon fragrance. It's called Temptation. I'll have a review up for Temptation soon. If I don't already, be sure and check that out. But being that Moudon already has a fragrance that's slightly inspired by Creed Aventus, I wasn't expecting this to be anything like Creed Aventus. I just knew that I liked those notes. So Wisdom was the one that I chose to open first, and man, I'm glad I did. It blew my hair back, so to speak. It opens like a delicious black currant bergamot creamsicle. It's sweet, but also fresh. It might be ginger or mint. There's something that's not listed in the notes that I'm getting that makes it a bit zesty. There's an interesting bite to the opening that's very fresh, a little bit fresh spicy. But Wisdom is non-linear. It does change as you wear it. After about 90 minutes or so, that black currant bergamot creamsicle vibe starts to die down a little bit. It deepens a little bit as the patchouli, rose, and kind of a creamy sandalwood start making its way up with the vanilla. Like all fragrance houses with 20 plus fragrances, there will be fragrances that remind you of other things, other popular releases. And Moudon's really no different. They have some fragrances that are beautiful and unique and really don't remind me of anything, while others get pretty close to some pretty popular fragrances. This one is pretty unique in my opinion, though I do pull influences from different places. And I'll give you those comparisons so you'll have a better understanding of what I'm smelling. When I first sprayed it on, my mind went straight to Mugler's Ultra Zest. That is a creamy citrus fragrance with this zesty quality from mint and ginger, I believe. They share few, if any, notes, but there's that zesty quality at the very opening that reminded me of Ultra Zest. There's one other fragrance that Wisdom reminds me of, especially as it starts to dry down, and that's Nichane Ani. They share quite a few notes as well as kind of the same vibe, especially in the dry down of Wisdom. Wisdom does not have that warm cardamom note that Ani has, but it does have the citruses, the black currant, and of course the vanilla. I find the black currant note in Wisdom especially boosted compared to Ani, as well as the patchouli in the dry down. So there are some similarities there, but they're not one for one. My wife loves Wisdom on me, and she also loves it on her. She's been wearing this a lot too. Like all Moudon fragrances, this is unisex, this is gender inclusive. Some of their fragrances lean feminine, some lean masculine. This is pretty unisex, if not leaning just a little bit masculine. I will also say that both my 11 and 13-year-olds love this fragrance. So I believe Wisdom appeals to all ages. It has some niche characteristics, but definitely with designer appeal. My day job, I'm a photographer, and I wore this to a photo shoot in the month of May. It did fine. It never felt too heavy or clone. I'd probably avoid this in the super high heat, especially if you're gonna be outside. But otherwise, you can wear this year-round, day or night. It's completely safe for the office and especially good for the date after. My only advice is to adjust your sprays accordingly. You don't want to go too heavy with this at the office. But in my opinion, this would make an excellent signature scent. This is Moudon Wisdom. Thank you all so much for joining me here on YouTube. Please come back to check out my next fragrance in the Moudon line. I'm Marshall the Scent Addict. Come back and see me tomorrow.